Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt, on the radio, on podcasts, on Facebook Live, and on YouTube. Also, check out talklawradio.com. If you want to search for our archived episodes, you can listen from your computer or your smartphone. Or if you like to watch YouTube videos, we break these episodes up into 4 segments, 10-minute segments, so you can watch a YouTube video while you're cooking, while you're walking the dog, or while you're doing your workout. So search for Talk Law Radio on YouTube and hit the subscribe button. Today we're talking with special guest Agustin Mier, and co-host Kirk Harrison's with me. We've been talking about Pedro Pan, the Peter Pan program of moving children from Cuba to the United States back in the 60s. But this is the 4th segment, and so we're going to talk about legacy.
And now, it's time for the Talk Law Radio Legacy Spotlight. What's your legacy? Sponsored by Marquardt Law Firm.
So Marquardt Law Firm focuses on wills and trusts and tax-protected inheritance plans. So we like to talk about legacy. And I just wanted to ask you about, what you think your parents' legacy was. What do you want your legacy to be? What do you want people to remember about you?
Okay. Well, one of the things that happens when you leave Cuba, you leave everything that you own to the government.
Oh.
Cars, house, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, like if I go back to Cuba now, most likely, I know that I heard that a Eastern, I think it was a Czechoslovakian minister was living in our house.
Okay.
And now it's not. It's been, they put fences around it, the house, and it seems like there's nobody there now.
Oh, not habitable.
Right. So now they did take my AC unit from the wall, because in Cuba, you don't have central heat and air.
Uh-huh.
You don't need it. But you do need AC, and that's with every room had an AC unit.
Okay.
And I could see in the picture that I got, you can see the hole, the rectangular where they took the AC out of there. I don't know, who knows. But
so your parents left everything.
Exactly. You have to leave everything
to come here.
Yes.
And yet, even with that, coming in basically, as many legal immigrants have said, penniless, almost,
right.
destitute, yep. Gave up everything they've worked a lifetime for, and still they thrived.
Right. You're only allowed to bring 10 Cuban pesos to the States,
wow.
Which is not even a penny now.
Oh.
So.
And so as a child, did you understand the impact of what they gave up and
yes.
to provide for you and to make sure you didn't end up in a Russian indoctrination camp?
Well, if I would have stayed in Cuba, I would be either, because even with 13 years old, I already knew that the government that was in power was not what I wanted it to be for the Cubans. So if I would have stayed, I would have been either killed or I would be in jail right now. Mm-hmm. One of the two.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you appreciated what Mom and Dad did for you.
Right. I know that at night I used to go with my BB gun and shoot the street lamps just to do something against the government.
Oh, okay.
So
your small right, contribution.
Exactly. So, it was funny because, most of the kids in that area, did not were not satisfied with the government,
yeah.
with Fidel Castro. So they all left. Everybody left
Yeah.
from that place.
And that I think is a great legacy. I mean, what you're saying here is that you can come in and you can really make it, even though you come from very harsh conditions. But on the other point, though, I guarantee you just about all of you and your family and friends and all from Cuba still would love to go back to Cuba and rebuild it back to what it once was. It's full of natural resources. It was a wonderful country. And,
And it's in the Caribbean. It's got to be a beautiful place.
Well, that was the Las Vegas.
Yes.
Before Las Vegas, there were casinos everywhere in Havana, and that's where the Americans used to go.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was big. I mean, you saw that in The Godfather, remember?
Right, yes.
They were in Cuba when the uprising happened. And the uprising happened because the government had gotten too fat and too lazy.
Right.
And that's a good deal for all of us that, you got to watch the government because eventually it becomes complacent.
Right.
And next thing you know, bureaucrats are running everything, and it just turns into a mess.
Yeah, that's one of the lessons we need to learn.
Right.
To value our freedom and our liberty, and don't let that be taken away.
Right. So.
What a testimonial.
Yeah, tell us about the way that you've lived your life so far and everything that you've achieved. What do you want your children and your nieces and nephews to remember about you?
Just to know that life is not easy. That it could turn on you in a second. So they need an education. That's primary. I have 3 kids, and they all set, for life.
Yeah.
So 2 are in Dallas, and 1 is in Georgia.
Okay.
So
they all got their education.
right, yeah. So they're doing very well. 1 has a mortgage company
Oh, okay.
in Dallas,
Uh-huh.
and he's doing, you can imagine, tremendously.
Oh, yeah.
It's,
as you were saying, when I was in Germany in the Army, we had people that would escape from East Germany, communist country. And the same thing you're saying about education was one of the things that they would mention too, because they said it was one of the assets that you have that can't be taken.
exactly.
Right.
You have it, you have it. It's
Right.
yours, okay? And that's why here I feel like we've dropped the ball on education because we're not sticking to the basics and giving them something that is transferable, basically,
Yeah.
meaning I get a better job, I can transfer into a better job. I've learned a lot of things. Across the board, the basics, the reading, the writing, the arithmetic, the science, and the history. Mm-hmm. Those things, once you have them, you have them. They don't go away, okay? And it was the same thing that said, you're exactly right, when they come from the communist countries, okay, they would have done anything to get out of there.
Right.
And they did. I mean, in that time, they used to have that fence electrified. So what did they come up with? They came up with hooks they could wrap around their wrists so they could climb over the fence without touching it. This just shows you the human spirit cannot be held down in such a way. Mm-hmm. Eventually, it's going to overcome. So what a great legacy, man. What a wonderful interview with you. I really appreciate you coming here today.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a real treat. I learned so much, because I was born after a lot of this stuff had happened. I do remember the time when Bill Clinton was president and the Cubans coming over on homemade rafts.
Right.
And they didn't want them to do that because, they would get turned over and it was very dangerous. Did either one of you know anyone that came over on a raft?
No, but I know that thousands have died eaten by sharks.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
because they try to come in anything that floats, and they think that 90 miles. No, 90 miles. Out in the sea, it's rough.
Uh-huh.
So, and you could see the boat capsizing, and you could see your relatives being eaten before you were eaten.
Oh, no.
Yes. So you're talking thousands and thousands that people don't realize, that they died.
Yeah.
And even them knowing that in Cuba, people kept
do
coming.
it.
Right?
Yeah.
They wanted
Because
to take that chance.
they wanted to get out.
Because they realized if they made it, they made it.
Right.
Exactly.
So you said Cuba's 90 miles off of the
Key West.
southernmost
Key West,
part of Florida. I mentioned the embargo and the rules that U.S. has on us, U.S. citizens going to Cuba, but there is an exception for education. So there's lots of educational programs held in Cuba. You just have to sign up through a university of some sorts. So there are still U.S. citizens going down there, and you just have to say it's for education. But you have a very strong opinion of not going down there because you don't want to benefit the Communist Party economically.
Well, people don't realize what a socialist or a communist government does for the people. And I tell everybody, if this country turns into socialism or communism, he says, for you to survive in that environment, you got to be at the top with them too, because you're the one that's going to be able to eat.
Right.
Everything's going to be so easy. You'll be able to go out of the country. Like in Cuba, they go out and they go to malls outside of Cuba, and they come back with, hundreds of suitcases for the family. The regular person there cannot do that.
Right. Only the favored government
the
bureaucrats.
elites at the top. We used to say when we were looking at Soviet Union was, communism, everybody's equal, but some people are more equal than others.
Right.
And they actually had a road that was just for the politicians.
Wow.
No one else could use it. All the other roads were junk, but this highway looked beautiful. Right. So anytime someone went there, they take them down that highway. Look at this. Isn't this wonderful?
Oh, right. To show how great the country is. They only show one part of it.
In the farms, since, again, idiots took over the farms, they'd have mountains of potatoes and couldn't figure out how to get them to the cities. So they would rot right there with the communes that took over. Because the first people they kill, believe it or not, are farmers. Because a farmer doesn't need anybody. He grows his food, he does his work, he's got stuff to trade with. You don't want those guys. So,
well, thank you for joining us, Agustin.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. I hope that this story is now part of your legacy that you can share with your family. That's it for Talk Law Radio today. Hope you learned something. Give us an email if you have suggestions at host@talklawradio.com. I'll talk to you later.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Each week, attorney Todd Marquardt talks about the law. His mission with the Talk Law Radio show and podcast is to help you discover your legal issue blind spots. In the beginning, God had one law. Don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then came the 10 Commandments. Now we have federal, state, and municipal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws. Laws that might impact you without you knowing it. Listen to the show and drop a line on Facebook or email host@talklawradio.com and let the host know what you think of the show, the topics you want to hear, and whether you want to be a guest.